Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, and I'm a blue dot in a red state utilizing tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times we've got going on here in the United States. So I'm really happy that you're here, and thank you and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be about Ukraine and Russia. Now, I saw this. I actually got this idea from a Facebook post, but I had to kind of go do some, quick research to make sure that this was actually a thing, and it is. It's a thing. So, apparently, over the weekend, and this happened either Saturday or Sunday, the leaders of Europe got together and with President Zelensky and made an unscheduled call to Trump and kind of backed him into a corner-ish. They kind of made it the way that the post read, and then kind of as I was looking through the news, made it sound like they totally played Trump and got him to agree to demanding a 30-day ceasefire from Russia, and also to start peace talks. And so they get together, and I've seen pictures. I mean, they were all together with Zelensky making this unscheduled call, and then after that call they posted about it. They did they posted on social media about the meeting and what was said, and then they also did press conferences. So I mean, it was like they were ready. The other interesting piece to this, and this was where the post, that Facebook post was, and it was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. So do you remember we had the UK deal on the tariffs, and it did nothing. It was like a concept of a plan. There was nothing that was signed, and it was going to bring down tariffs on Rolls Royces, like motors. It was like, okay, and the whole thing. I just remember we were going, that doesn't make any sense. And then, okay, his name is Lutnick, but I have seen him being called Nutlick, and I'm sorry, that's just what his name is going to be from now on. So whenever, this is the disclaimer, whenever you hear that Lutnick, just know, or Nutlick, whatever, that's who I'm talking about. And then I have his name up here, the UK ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, was present. Okay, and it was like, and they were happy, and I'm like going, this doesn't make any sense. Well, what happened was that was to butter Trump up, so that, because they were preparing for this call. And they've seen, and this has happened. I mean, this has been happening on the U.S. side. Somebody, it had to do with the tariffs, and Peter Navarro had this meeting, and so these people wanted, whoever, I can't remember now who it was, saw that there was a meeting on the books with Peter Navarro, and so they raced to the Oval Office, got there first, and got Trump to say, we're going to pause the tariffs for 90 days. This was the first 90 day, whatever it was. But he paused the tariffs, and put it out on, because apparently, our government works on Trash Social now. Just a, trashed out post is how government policy is being made. And so this is something this is what people do. It's like, and they've learned that whoever, like whatever the last thing is that he's heard, that's what he's going to act on. And that's what they did. And so they forced Trump into this corner of, saying, yeah, Putin, you got to agree to a ceasefire. And Putin has now come out and said no, and Trump has, of course, backtracked all of that and everything. But what I want to look at is just kind of where this is going. Base reading of, are there going to be peace talks? I tell you what, President Zelensky, man, he's got it going on here. He is like, I want there to be a ceasefire, and Putin said there's no ceasefire, but I'm going to be in, we can have these talks in Turkey, and President Zelensky is like, I'll be there. I mean, he is not backing down, and he has got the full support of the UK, and with him. So I want to kind of see where is that going to go, and yeah, just kind of where all that's going. And another thing is, what is Putin thinking of Trump right now? Because that could be that this whole thing could have some really interesting implications for Trump. So, base reading on the UK, and not just UK, the EU plus the UK, backing Ukraine, and then Putin, the peace talks. Where is that going to go? And also, the second part of this reading is going to be. Are there going to be any implications for Trump for, going against Papa Putin there? So, okay, as always, these are for entertainment purposes only. Just base reading on, are these peace talks going to happen on Thursday? Okay. Just are these just kind of a base reading on the peace talks. Okay. So, peace talks. At the heart of this is the talking, the beginning of this. I think that President Zelensky will absolutely be there, but right now I'm just seeing it a party of one. So let's see, will Putin be there? Putin may send a delegation. Okay, I don't know if Putin will be there personally, but you get that there is victory for, and I'm going to see this more as President Zelensky here, or the messaging even. Just not that this is President Zelensky, because he would come up as the king, but this is like the messaging that he's got coming out around this is victorious. Okay, so options. Putin does not want there to be peace because he wants all of Ukraine. And if he agrees to peace talks, then he knows he's not getting Ukraine. So he is trying to put this off. So this is a state of suspension. And I mean, just waiting. Also, a lower energy of this is Putin knows he doesn't have a leg to stand on. And that he's going to, with the power of the EU backing Ukraine, and then knowing that Trump's not a reliable ally to anyone. Trump is a reliable ally to only one person, himself. Okay, so does Putin want to take that chance that Trump, actually defies him even further? Okay, the past experiences with this, the strength card. This is all coming in line with that President Zelensky has always been in a position of strength when it comes to not only the war, but also just, in the hearts and minds of the majority of, of the world. Okay, is really backing him. So the recent influences into this, happy, stable home. He is getting his allies in order and lined up here. That phone call was, there was the 4 leaders there who it was the UK, France, Germany, UK, and I can't remember who the 4th one was. I almost want to say, I don't think it was New Zealand. Let's see here who and I know New Zealand's not part of the UK or the EU. Yeah, I don't know that I can find this real quick. Sorry, I'm just looking here who that 4th. Okay, I'm not finding it quickly. It doesn't matter. So, but he's got those 4 countries that were lined up with him, and then happy house. Getting your house in order is what this card is, and he's got his ally house in order. And then the potential is this war comes to an end. I want to do more on that. What does this exactly mean? Is this that Russia loses and that, Ukraine gets everything? I hope so, including Crimea back. That's been a major point with, kind of what's being reported. What I'm seeing is President Zelensky wants Crimea back for his country. So is that going to include that? And okay, and with that, I think that whatever concessions are made is not definitely And restrictions, I think that these restrictions are more coming on Russia than it is on on Ukraine. They may have to give up something. I don't know, just because, and this is like, they don't want to. I mean, I will say that. But if it brings a bigger, an end to this, they may. Um, I'm just sitting here. Is this land that they're? Because this could also be like they don't want to give, and they don't. They absolutely don't want to give up land. So will they have to? Putting it all out on the table, decisions being made, and maybe not. I mean, they're going to really, if they have to give up land, it's going to be like a very small, like this is not, the Ukraine is coming out ahead on this deal. That's what I'm seeing here. So when can we expect a peace deal here with this? Decisions being made, and this is about it. This is a card about, it's actually about prosperity and deciding like how you're spending the money, but this is also like decisions about our country. Pentacles is just, I see Pentacles a lot of, as countries as well. And then yeah, what is going to be best for our country? That's just decisions being made. This almost is like, I'm getting the feeling like this really is kind of coming to a, whenever I say I don't quick end, I'm not saying like they're going to reach a deal on Thursday. Okay, that's not what's coming up here. Maybe like within the next month or so. As I said, Putin does not want there to be peace because he wants all of Ukraine. So, and the EU knows that Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize. So that's kind of, they're playing on his emotions with that as well. So let's see here with Ukraine. What will Trump do? Let's just ask that. Will Trump, continue waffling back and forth between, who we're going to side with? And yes, I know the correct answer is always going to be siding with Ukraine. We side for democracy. And it's really a disgrace that I even have to ask this. So what's Trump going to do? Is he going to stay the course with Ukraine? Okay, and staying the course with Ukraine. Right now, it's looking like possibly, yeah. I mean, and he's like, a while back, not too long ago, he's like, I think that Putin is tapping me, just playing me for a fool. Well, okay, yes, he is. And so it's going to be pretty much whoever placates him the most, whoever, gives him all the, nice warm fuzzies feelings about, how great and wonderful he is. That's whose side he's going to be on. And the EU has figured this out. Yeah. And they've even, some of that reporting was, they even told Trump, you can take all of the credit for this. Just playing on that ego. I mean, I laugh, but it's serious. But sometimes, you're either going to laugh or cry about the situation. So, he thinks, oh my gosh, it's almost like I get this feeling of they really are trying to include him in the club to make him feel welcomed so that he will do the right thing. Okay, that's the feeling I'm getting from that. And the burden. Okay, you also, there's 2 tens here, which is telling me that things are, tens are, a journey's about ready to wrap up. So, this war in Ukraine is about, it is going to be coming to a close. As I said, expect some movement like within the next month or so, but I'm kind of wondering, is it going to be also for Trump? Erratic. So here's, recent influences is Trump is, influencing this whole thing, and they are trying to corral his erratic behavior. They're trying to focus him and, yes, manipulate him to do the right thing. And they struggle with it. They struggle keeping him on track. And it's like, can you imagine? I can't even imagine. It's like whatever thought flies, floats through his brain is what he has in that moment, or whoever the last person was that spoke to him. He sees a movie about Alcatraz, and now, we're going to reopen Alcatraz. I mean, it's that kind of, crazy that they're trying to keep him focused on. So, what is Putin going to do about this? Well, that card just flipped out. New beginnings. What is Putin going to do about Trump? Okay, and what Putin is doing, he's made plans. Okay, this is just making plans. And he wants to win at all cost. Okay, he's made plans and he wants to win at all cost. And now you've got Trump siding-ish with the European leaders. Yeah, that's actually, I was like, oh, the messaging, the messaging of, he's seeing Trump resonate more with these, as I said, the EU and siding with Ukraine. And it's not, Trump just wants a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, let's just be real honest. That's what he wants. And he sees that bringing this war, he thinks that if he brings this war to an end, that he will get that Nobel Peace Prize. And the EU is just trying to keep him focused on this. And it's like, okay, fine. Nobel Peace Prize, that's what's important to you instead of a, sovereign democracy. Okay, whatever. We'll work with it. But from Putin's point of view, he's seeing that the European leaders are able to manipulate Trump. And messaging. Expect more messaging coming out. And I'm curious about what these messages are going to be. Things that were hidden, things under the surface. These are recent influences. And the potential, this could be, I think this is Putin really trying to play Trump. I know that this was in the previous, round that I did, but, you've got, here you literally have, you have the European leaders, the EU, you have Putin looking at Trump going, what the hell is he going to do? And you know what? Welcome to our world. We have no idea what he's going to do. Okay. So just real quick, I just put 3 cards on the moon card. Let's do a little bit more on that. Just some clarity on the moon card. Hands being tied, forcing his hand. I wonder, and this is kind of where I'm going to divide this into 2 readings, I think, because I'm getting here that either Putin or the EU could have dirt on Trump, and that they, are both pushing him to do what they want because of the blackmail that they have, and that they're not afraid to use it, that they absolutely will use it. So, that's interesting. That's coming up there. Because of some other readings, the election interference reading and like all roads lead to the tower card, I've been wondering if there isn't information coming out, like from someone somewhere, because that's the only thing I could think of that could really, move this country in a new and different direction quickly. So what I'm seeing with this, as far as Ukraine goes, is that the EU 100%, and I got that. I mean, I don't know that needed to necessarily be a tarot reading moment with that, but yes, that came up absolutely in previous readings. Europe was 100%, solid allies of Ukraine. And then you've got Russia, who has really no allies. And then you've got Trump, who's going to waffle back and forth, which that's what he does. That's what he does. He doesn't pay his debts. If Putin helped get him elected, and and right now I'm going to say even just the Russian propaganda did help manipulate our elections. Okay. So if that, even just in that, you have, Putin helping Trump, and he's expecting something back. from that. He's expecting, repayment on that. But Trump really wants that Nobel Peace Prize. So what is going to win here? The vanity of wanting a Nobel Peace Prize, or is Putin going to have to release some dirt on Trump? And would we be surprised if Europe doesn't have some of that same dirt? No, we wouldn't. So Trump has kind of got himself, backed into a corner, I think, of, pick your poison. What are you going to choose? And they keep dangling that accolades and, oh, you can take the credit, in front of him. And that's kind of where he always seems to, he always goes for that bright shiny object. And I don't know that, he may actually think that he could ride whatever, Putin releases on him. So yeah, that could be real interesting. But as far as it goes with just Ukraine and Russia and those peace talks, yeah, Zelensky, he will be there. He will be there. I think that Putin will probably send like an envoy maybe, but I don't think those are going to be serious talks, because Putin doesn't want there to be peace. Okay. And but expect something. I do think that this is going to be coming to an end. Probably expect some more solid news, over these next several weeks. That's really looking like it's, kind of coming to an end in some way. So with that being said, as I said, I feel like I'm kind of leaving it out there, but I'm just feeling like there's going to be, I will do an update kind of after Thursday. I kind of want to see, where things go on Thursday, and then, kind of let that play out for a couple of weeks, and then I'll do an update on it. So thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Like, subscribe. I'll put some more videos up here for you to check out, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a great day.